I mean, players are one thing, managers are another thing. Missing from COVID. Jurgen Klopp today was missing
Hmm.
from the Liverpool game, and then yesterday with Arsenal and Man City, Arteta also missing the game against City. Joe, what do you think Arsenal has done this year that either kind of shows like what they can progress to become, or is it kind of still like the same Arsenal we saw before, where they're just learning and a little inexperienced?
I wouldn't say they're inexperienced, but I think we're starting to see what the long term plan is. You know, and to be honest, I'm actually surprised it's coming to fruition this quickly. I think it goes to show how good of a job Arteta is doing. So, to be honest, I could see them being a really solid top four team, in the next few years. So I know they had a rocky start, but
Oh yeah,
Arteta is starting to prove himself. So
Rocky start to say the
Rocky
least.
about to get relegated.
we had relegation battle on our mind for the first 5 weeks.
First 3
Yeah.
weeks of the podcast, when's Arteta getting fired and is Arsenal going to get relegated?
I mean, good thing they stuck with him though, because now
Yeah.
they're in a really good spot. I think as long as he continues this, I know managers in the EPL are very short lived. So if he can keep this up, hopefully finish top four this year, and then next year show that it wasn't like a one season fluke.
Yeah,
I think it'll go to show that hey, there's actually a plan and not just smoke and mirrors. But we'll have to see. We won't really know till I would say next year about what's going on at Arsenal. It's going to be tough to say.
yeah. Like when it comes to teams and like historically and longevity with managers, the 1A and 1B have always been United and Arsenal.
Yeah,
Like, look at what Ferguson's done since the 90s, and then his comparable was obviously Arsene Wenger with Arsenal. So like when Fergie left back in 2013, 2014, Wenger was still sticking around, and I feel like Arsenal fans and United fans were kind of looking at the replacements that were coming in for Ferguson, and they're like, oh man, like this is not the same team that we once were. And I think Arsenal fans were so disgruntled with what Wenger was continuing to do with the team, and they wanted him out so bad. They were obviously chanting like Wenger out, putting the signs out. They were like renting airplanes and flying over the stadium saying Wenger out.
yeah,
But I don't think they were still prepared for what was going to come in, because they didn't know. I mean, Arteta wasn't like the first man on the job. I don't think like he wasn't the first like guy that they thought of bringing in, but he's kind of the one that just slid into the spot. I mean, he was obviously with Pep and Man City, so he kind of learned under him and like had the tutelage of Pep for a couple of seasons to kind of like get a grasp of how to manage a club. But I don't think I think Arsenal fans like are still Arsenal fans, and they just want results like now,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. And I don't know if it's like kudos to them or kudos to the guys in charge for keeping Arteta as long as they have, because we said it before. When you go from having, like the career that Wenger had with Arsenal, or again related to back to United, the career that Ferguson had with United, like you're literally coming from like the greatest you've ever had to like the next person. So like you can't compare the two.
No.
Arsenal fans still wanted to. Yeah, exactly. And and I mean, credit to Wenger for still being around as long as he did, but at the same time, he didn't win anything from like 2004 basically and on.
yeah.
I mean, Arsenal they haven't won the EPL title in almost 15, 20 years, whatever it is now. So he was still winning FA Cups and being competitive and all that, but Arsenal still wants titles. They want EPL titles. And when Arteta came into the fold a couple seasons ago, the results weren't there. It wasn't what they wanted exactly. But like you said, he's had a plan. He's had a structure. He's had some, something in mind of like, okay, this is our 2 to 3 year plan. We're going to bring in youth. We're going to mix the players up here and there. And like, we're seeing it now with like, Saka and Smith Rowe and like these players. They're coming into their shoes. They're starting to play a lot better.
Yeah.
And so I give credit for the brass at Arsenal to like keep Arteta there. I give credit to the fans for actually being supportive now and being like fully behind the manager, because that's huge, right? Like if like if you're a club that has like a lame duck manager and like you know he's gonna get sacked in the season, like it's like why even there?
Yeah.
But they're actually rallying behind Arteta, and in the last 5 games, I mean, they got 4 wins out of 5. Obviously, the loss against City was heartbreaking with the way that they played, but they kind of showed that they can still hang with the big boys. And I mean, City had I'll give credit to Arsenal when it's due, but City also had a down game. Like, they didn't play good.
No, it was not nearly as close as they can play like any top performance.
Yeah, like I think all 3 of us agree that City probably should have lost that game.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I would maybe like 60-40, like loss to draw ratio. Like Arsenal definitely played good enough to get a draw, and they played for sure good enough to get a win.
Yeah.
So
I mean, credit to Arsenal for they set the pace in the first half.
Yeah.
And I think City was maybe surprised, which maybe led to them not being able to get a foothold on the game. So, credit to them for, just coming out and going, like you said, toe-to-toe with the big boys. And, I think they've gave City a challenge that they haven't had all season, being on the back foot for that long. So, good things happening there for sure for Arsenal.
So we've said before in the pod that they kind of need some strength in the midfield, a leader to the team. Do we still think that's like what they that's like the missing link for Arsenal? It's kind of like what they still need to be able to excel to the next level.
Yeah, I think they need someone who's won an EPL title before on their team.
That's a good point.
And to captain the team, maybe.
Yeah. I don't even know if they have anyone on the team that has won one. I don't think so. Or anyone on the coaching staff.
No. I think Lacazette might have won with like Lyon or something.
Yeah.
Aubameyang with Dortmund. He's been close. I don't know if he actually won. But other than that, they're all kids.
kind of going to that point though, because right now you have Xhaka captaining the team a lot of times, especially with Aubameyang kind of not in it right now.
Yeah.
I think really having a solid leader on the team is going to make a big difference for Arsenal. Because you have, Xhaka's the one that gave away the PK with the shirt pull. We talked about how it might have been soft, but you have a defender like Thiago Silva or Sergio Ramos or any of those guys. You're not going to have tackles like that happen in the box and give away PKs like that. Usually, I mean, obviously it happens, but I think that's a key that Arsenal's missing right now is just having that leadership on the field.
Yeah.
And I think that'll go a long way for them.
Like, they've kind of like built their core. Like having Ramsdale and net is like huge. Like that's your goal for the future forever.
Yeah, that's massive for them.
Having Saka and Smith Rowe as like your anchors in the midfield, in the middle, and on the wing, that's your future, right? You can kind of bring in a world-class striker. I know Lacazette and Aubameyang are aging. You can maybe bring somebody in who's got a little more, pep to them. I mean, Martinelli's another player who's done really well for them. He kind of plays on the wing or as a striker. Yeah, he kind of fluctuates. Yeah, fluctuates between the two positions. But he had another young kid. He's like 20 years old. So right there, you got like Ramsdale and net. Colin Tierney on the wing as a wing back has like really proven himself this season. The back line you can kind of mix up here and there a little bit, but other than that, you got 4 or 5 players in their early 20s. Yeah, that if they, adapt to the Arsenal way and they don't want massive contracts that Arsenal can't afford, which I'm sure they can afford. They got money. But if they, don't demand to leave the club, you got 5 players there for the next 10 seasons.
Yeah.
That's like your core. And they're only going to get better. I mean, they're performing as well as they are now at a super youthful age with more seasons under their belt and more, players that can come in that can teach them a little bit, like teach them the ropes. You could see Emile Smith-Rowe being their Arsenal captain in 5 seasons.
Yeah.
You could see Ramsdale being the captain from the back line. These could be like their core guys for the next 10 years. So if you can build around these guys, I think Arsenal's got a pretty bright future ahead of them. Obviously, the slow start to this season has kind of set them back this year, but they never had Premier League title expectations on their minds. Yep. Getting back to Europe was probably their number one goal, whether it be Europa League or Champions League. Obviously, more favorable for Champions League. But I mean, I think have they overachieved? Maybe. Maybe.
I don't know.
overachieve.
Actually,
Maybe.
it's a good point. I would say maybe a little bit right now. I don't think anyone really expected them to be at this point at Christmas with the start that they had.
Right.
Um,
Even heading into the season though, I didn't expect them to be as high as they are. Like heading into the year, I didn't think they're gonna be top 4.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I would have expected like maybe 6th.
Right.
So
Kind of
if they
similar
finished
to
6th,
last
it's like, oh,
season.
that makes sense if they got 6th.
Yeah.
But top 4, maybe, the first year that Arteta's really had his foothold in the team and like brought in all these players.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe on some level you could say, oh, they're overachieving, especially with their performances lately. It's like, oh, they're really surprising. So,
Yeah. I mean, good on them. I mean, like I said, their future's only going to be brighter, right?